I want you to rate my shadow boxing here. All right?
Let's see it.
Okay.
Pretty solid.
Okay. Fight Marine.
There it is.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
All right. You hear that? You hear that, boss man?
That's pretty
It's
good.
pretty good. My next thing, I think I'm really going to regret this. Would you be willing to make a video of us sparring?
Of us sparring?
Not right now.
Yeah.
But in the future.
Sure.
Oh, my God, what'd I just do?
Super down.
Especially after seeing that.
Yeah.
Are those them 10 boys?
Nope. Good morning.
Thank you for watching
10K TV.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of 10K TV. I'm your guest host, Sarge here, and I am here with a very, very special guest, a guy I've been following since high school, since about 2010. Light heavyweight bare knuckle champion of the world, Minnesota's own Mike the Marine Richman.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, that's fucking badass. You've been following me since that. It's throwback. Yeah.
Dude, it's I'm seriously, I told you this before, I'm fangirling out right now. I'm so hyped up. I've been looking forward to this. I told Boss Man here who's producing, hey, we got to get this guy on. He just knocked out, had a great knockout win. We'll get into that later, but light heavyweight champion of the world. And I'm like, dude, just see if it happens.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And you responded, and I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
And now you're here. Now you're here,
hell
man.
yeah.
How's it been going?
Oh, excuse me. Your beer is fantastic, by the way. I like it.
We didn't tell him to say that, by the way.
No, you didn't. No, I swear. I'll take a shandy all year round, okay? But it's going good. It's going good. You know, I like to rest a little bit after my fights. You know, I tweaked my finger a little bit after the fight, so my finger's got to kind of like heal up good. But just spending time with family, you know, just spend time with family, resting, focusing on other things until we kind of dive back in and then do it again and get ready for the next fight. So things have been good. Yeah, I can't complain. It was awesome to win the interim title. We fell short of winning the undisputed title, you know, with what happened with the Lorenzo fight. You know, then we had some other little slip-ups, and then, you know, against Mundell, you know, I just wasn't there. Did the little retirement, took some time off, and I legitimately thought I was going to stay retired, right?
I did too. Selfishly, I was like, God, I hope he comes back. Because, I mean, that's not the way you wanted to end.
No, and even if it wasn't the way I wanted to end, I just knew, like, I just need a moment to just kind of relax. And then I realized, like, once I got healthy, good mind, good spirit, and physically, I'm like, nah, man, I still got fucking more to give.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, selfishly, I'm like, God, please keep fighting. Even though that, you know, obviously you're getting up there in age, but I wanted to kind of go back how you get started. I want people to get familiar with your story because it's truly awesome. Like I said, you're from Minnesota, correct? I'm not just reading bullshit.
Nope, yep, from Minnesota, yeah.
Okay, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Rosemount.
Okay, Rosemount. And so
If you're familiar, the southern suburbs.
Yep. I'm not super familiar, but I know they're the Irish, right? Correct?
Fighting Irish.
Fighting Irish, right on. And so how did you kind of start? So you started wrestling, correct? Did you box too, or
started
just
wrestling? But I grew up learning how to box. You know, I had uncles that know how to box, and you know, I knew that I could feel I had the natural talent to do that. But I never got into the gloves. I never got into golden gloves. I never got into the amateurs.
Shit.
It was just kind of a natural thing plus wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell by your ears. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are about to get into a bar fight and you see the cauliflower ear, fucking run. Run. So, like, do you take anything from wrestling to what you do in the BKFC today? Like with the clinching or anything? Because it's super physical on the inside.
You know what? I can't say, you know, I don't ever want to discredit, you know, the wrestling background and what it does for you. Obviously, the training mentality is be the most thing that I can really translate. Is the training mentality, but the actual style of fighting, I'm not a big. Anyone that watches my fights, I'm not a big clinch guy. I don't like to collar tie and dirty box. I like to just more old school pugilism.
Just fucking bang.
and just box. So the wrestling aspect, it doesn't translate for me personally, but others it does.
So how do you get cauliflower ear? You just don't wear fucking the headgear and just rub heads? Like to me, I think it's super badass. But I wrestled with my buddy a few times, and he would purposely rub his head in my ear. I'm like, stop! Like, fuck! Like,
I think it's just repeated trauma, and then sometimes you get that kind of like a big impact to where you get separation from the cartilage to where your skin is, and you got blood and plasma starts filling up, and you got to drain it over and over.
Does that suck to drain? Does that shit hurt?
Man, it's been so many years. It wasn't bad for me. Like I know I have friends and others that don't do well with needles and whatnot, but it wasn't bad for me. Yeah.
Right on. So I'm assuming you wrestled all through high school too, and then once you're done with high school, you joined the Marines. Wanted to talk a little bit about that experience. So we have something in common. We're both sergeants.
Okay.
So you earned it. My last name is Sargent.
Oh, all right.
So
you earned it in a different way.
Yeah, spelled Sargent. But I thought that was funny. I was like, wow, we do have something in common. Yeah. But I wanted to ask, like, what made you decide to join the military? And once again, thank you for your service.
No, I appreciate that. That's a great question. You know, all my buddies went on to college, and I remember thinking like, all right, cool, I go to college, maybe go to a community college, try to figure it out, sign up for that. But like, I always had this itch to want to join service, you know, and a lot of my Richman side of the family were all in the Army.
Okay.
And, you know, my dad was in the Army, my uncle was in the Army, my grandpa retired from the Army. So I had a lot of family members that were in the Army. So I'm like, I'm fucking going to be different. I'm going to join the Marines.
Yeah.
And, I knew at that time I joined in, right after high school in 2003. So I knew we were obviously at a conflict, during the Iraq War at that time. So I knew what I was getting into, joining the infantry as well. But it's just something that I just, I desired to do, knowing the, knowing the things on the line that could happen, and the circumstances that come with it.
Yeah, and speaking of that, so I read that you did multiple tours, which is crazy. Yeah. What makes you decide to go back? Is it, return to the brothers, or like, you still feel like the job's not done? Like, how does that?
I think it's one of those things where it's part of your enlisted service, right? So it's kind of whether you want to go back or not.
Okay.
That's kind of irrelevant, as much as you don't want to say it's irrelevant, right? You could still not want to go back. You could not want to go back to Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever you served, but your enlisted service says you still have time to do. So the best way I've always explained to people, like, hey, Mike, well, how was your service? Like, what was it like deploying? My first combat deployment, my first deployment to Iraq was pretty mild in comparison to the others. But I remember my first deployment, it was like, gung-ho, fuck yeah, Marine Corps, kill bodies, all that. Like, you're just a young kid thinking you can take on the world. My second deployment, it was, all right, shit, keep your head down. All right, you still gung-ho, you still want to get out there and fucking execute and do the whole rah-rah Marine Corps thing. And, but you're cautious. And then my third deployment, you've seen much more now. You have some more experience under your belt. I lost some friends along the way. I had a friend that he died on his third deployment, and some people that happened to as well. So then on my third deployment, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna die here. Like, those moments go through your mind, and I don't mean it in like a super dramatic type of way. Sometimes those thoughts go in your head. You're like, oh fuck, like I could die out here. You're not as hard charging motherfucker. Of course, you're still a Marine and you're gonna do what needs to be done, but you have more conscious idea of what really is, what really could happen. Because I was, married, had a kid on the way, all those things. Yeah.
Man. So, all right. On a much lighter note.
Yeah.
So I had a buddy in the Air Force tell me, and you were telling me about the rivalries. And I'm really dumb. So we were at a bar, And I don't know how people can, how other military branches can figure it out, but he knew these group of, he didn't know the Marines, the group of Marines, but he's like, hey, ask them if they're crayon eaters. So I went up there and did that. Almost got into a fight. I'm like, what the fuck? What did I just do? And I was hoping you could explain the meaning behind crayon eater.
So crayon eaters is especially if you're Marine Corps infantry, it's a way of saying we are dumb knuckle we're dumb knuckle dragging, bullet sponged, or we're just there for to go out there and combat and die. And it's just kind of like it's a negative term towards Marines, especially infantry Marines, that we now, especially Marine infantry, we were like, fuck yeah, we're crayon. Give me that red crayon. I'm gonna that shit up. Yeah, so we roll with it, so you can talk shit, but nah, give me that crayon. Let me eat that whole box. It started off as kind of like saying Marines are just dumb knuckle draggers, but then we just yeah, cool, but we're gonna take that hill.
Oh God, yeah, I can't believe we did that. I was drunk, by the way, if you couldn't tell, prefacing that story. But I was like, oh man, that would have been an awful time. So obviously, with your experience, you probably hear stories. I just have so much respect for the military. I try to consume as many military books as possible. Is there any stories that maybe you can tell, or any books that you'd recommend reading? I've done a ton of World War II stuff. Jack has too. But no, I would love to learn more. I find it so interesting.
You know what? Not really for me as far as when a military themed type of book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. I really liked when I was in the Marine Corps. One of my platoon commanders had us read Gates of Fire, and it's about the Battle of Thermopylae. You know, the 300 Spartans that fought the Persians. And that book is kind of about that story. And that's a pretty fucking badass book if you actually read it. And
badass movie, too.
Fucking badass movie. The story's amazing. And you get your fucking dick hard as an infantry Marine. And we're like, fuck yeah, let's go. So, that's the one that always comes to mind about, a combat-related book that I would recommend to anyone that hasn't read it.
All right, now, top 5 military movies.
Oh, that's a tough one. That's super tough.
Is Tropic Thunder on there by chance?
It's got to be up there.
It's so good, man.
4 or 5. It's got to be 4 or 5. Oh, man. Fuck, that's funny. I would say, man, Black Hawk Down is fucking awesome.
Great movie.
Right, great movie. You know, Platoon is awesome. Full Metal Jacket. I mean, you can just keep going on and on. Saving Private Ryan. I can't put them in order. They're all
Hamburger
great.
Hill? Are you a Hamburger Hill guy?
It's all right. You know, I don't
Okay.
mind it. I really like the Benghazi movie. What is that? 13 Hours? Or
Yeah, that movie's fucking
such
crazy.
a fucking great movie. Now I get it. It's not quote unquote, a war movie, but it's such a fucking great movie. You know,
Talk
man,
about a
there's so many good
shitty
ones.
situation.
Yeah, horrible.
Oh my God.
But fuck, that's a tough one. My gut instinct for me would be number 1 would be Black Hawk Down. I always just go to Black Hawk Down is such a good fucking movie.
So good.
Yeah.
I always think of the part where the guy gets shot in the leg and dies. Because you just don't think about that's the way you die. You think you get shot in the stomach, you're dead. But he gets shot in the leg. You're like, wait, what the fuck? I remember watching that way too young as a kid because my dad was like, yeah, you can watch any movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way.
Why is he dead from a leg shot?
Yeah.
In the leg wound?
Exactly. So once you get done with the military, once you're done serving, you get into MMA. Was that just the logical next step? There's been a ton of MMA fighters that have done the same path.
You know what? For me, I was married at the time, and I was on my 3rd deployment to Iraq. And I was in Iraq in Camp Habbaniyah at the time. I believe that's where we were at. It's kind of Camp Habbaniyah. Anyone that understands, the breakdown of where Iraq's at. Fallujah. Anyone that knows where Western Iraq, we're right over in that area. But anyways, I'm getting towards the end of my deployment, and I had to either stay and re-enlist, or get out. And at the time, a re-enlistment for a sergeant in E5 in the infantry, it was good money. Like I was tax-free money. I was overseas at the time. I would have made $50,000 to reenlist tax-free, lump sum right to my account as a young 22, 23-year-old. And then if I would have agreed to do another deployment to Iraq, instead of go be a trainer or work at a schoolhouse or whatever like that, I would get an additional 10 more thousand. So I had 60,000 on the line there, but I remember talking with my wife at the time, and crazy as it sounds, and I have a handful of Marine Corps friends there. I remember at that time, they're like, Mike, I remember when you said that you wanted to get out of the Marine Corps to become a fucking fighter, and a lot of us were like laughing and thought you were dumb. Like, there's no way. And then you actually get out, and then you did it, and you became successful doing it. They thought it was pretty cool. Because I was fast tracking in the Marine Corps, to put it all in perspective for people. Like, I picked up rank relatively fast. So I was on the fast track to be, successful as an enlisted Marine. But I had this in me where I thought I could be a professional fighter, 1. 2, I never wanted to be 10, 15, 20 years down the road in the Marine Corps watching fights and be like, yeah, I could have done that. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy, Yeah. So then I'm like, I said, worst case scenario. I remember telling my wife, I'm like, yeah, I want to get out and fight. She's like, all right, if that's what you want to do. And, I got out and, I kind of took that path. Some, highs and lows and everything in between. And here we are now.
So where did you start training? Was it here or did you travel?
Training here, yeah. I started in Minnesota. I'm trying to remember my very first gym, right when I got out of the Marine Corps. Small gym. God, it was in Savage, Burnsville area. Team Savage, I believe it was called. Anyways, it was a small little gym, and then you realize you elevate past that gym, and then you go on to another, and just kind of go from there.
So when you first started, did you have any amateur fights, or
No.
You just went straight pro? Okay,
Yeah.
because I was looking, I'm like, I don't see any amateur fights. That's very unusual.
Super unusual. In hindsight, I would not advise that.
Yeah.
It worked out in my favor, but like it could have went super fucking sideways and not worked out. The matches that I had, they were just, the style matchups were great for me to build up my career, and it was just the right fights at the right time, but it could have went not that way.
Yeah. So, when you're first starting out, you're probably fighting in crazy places. Where was kind of a crazy place for you that sticks out where you fought?
I would say the most crazy, and what I mean by most crazy is
In like someone's driveway.
wasn't that intense. Yeah, I never fought in someone's driveway or something wild like that. And most of them were all venue-based type of areas. I would say I fought at a place called Elko Speedway.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, outdoors, right by the racetrack, but it was outdoors. That'd be probably the most weird spot. MMA fight
Outdoors?
for me.
Yeah, that
Risky
does.
doing an outdoor thing because it wasn't an outdoor with a pavilion to where like there's
Yeah, if it rains,
some
you're
overhead.
fighting in rain.
If it rains, you're kind of fucked.
So, was it hot or anything? Was that an issue?
In hindsight, I don't remember it being hot or but I've heard of, especially shows in Minnesota, when it gets humid out to where it's slippery and you're sliding and perspiration everywhere. Yeah, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Luckily.
So eventually, as you were going through your MMA career, you got invited to the Ultimate Fighter for a brief time.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like? Was that just a bunch of show, all for show, or what was that like?
Man, that was an eye-opening experience for me. It's still kind of, it's still heartbreaking for me that I just went out there and shit the bed, lost the 2-round decision to Aaron Wilkinson. I still remember. But I was only there on the process to get on the Ultimate Fighter, was a long process. You did a couple of tryouts, call you into Vegas, then you do that, more interviews, all of that.
Yeah.
Then they say, hey, you make the show. And we were probably one of the first 2 or 3 shows to where you had to fight to get into the house. That's when they kind of transitioned to that format. And so my under the scope of the recording was probably only a day and a half or maybe not. Yeah, it wasn't even that long, 2 days, because it was weigh-ins and then fight day. And then I lost the decision. I didn't make it into the house, but it was an experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned weigh-ins, and one thing that I think is really cool about your career is you fought in like 150 weight classes.
Yeah.
So when you started, what weight were you fighting at?
My MMA career.
You were tiny.
Yeah. I want to say my first fight, I fought at 155 or 170. Then I went down to 55. Then I did a bunch of my fights at 145. And then I did 3 fights at 135 pounds.
Oh, what's that weight cut like? Did you
the
gain like
worst.
20? Yeah, it's probably why you don't do it today, right? It's just fucking awful. Like,
My stomach turns thinking about those years and those fights cutting to that weight. But at the time, I was younger. Like, I couldn't, sure, in my mid-20s, my mid to late 20s, could I do all of those things because I'm full-time fighting and all that, cut down to 35? Yes. Is it painful? Yeah. Could I do that now? No, never.
oh my God. Like, so what do you do to get down there? You just literally sit in the sauna, ride the bike, and just not drink any water or anything? Or like, what? How much weight do you gain back?
There's so many levels before that point of actually getting it in the weight cut of your water, right? But when I fought at 35, I usually gained, I would weigh in at 135, 136, and 'cause you get a pound allowance if it's not a title fight.
Yeah.
I would probably gain about 30 to 40 pounds.
Oh my God. You're kidding.
Yeah. So I'd be pushing 165, 168 sometimes.
Do you just like almost pass out when you weigh in, or like you just try to put on the game face and then you go and just start?
You put the game face on. Yeah, you put the game face on. I never got to a place of, up on the scale, shaky, wobbly knees. Maybe inside I'm feeling that, but I've never got to that level of just dehydrated fucking done.
And for the people at home, he fights at 185 now.
Yeah.
Do you do any weight cut? Is this your just walking around weight?
You know what? This last fight, I didn't have to go into the sauna. Some other fights at 85, and the shitty part about fighting at 85 now, whether it's shitty or not, I started bare knuckle at 75, and then when I got offered, they're like, hey, Mike, you want to go fight for the interim title up at 185? I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I'll go fight for the title. So then I'm like, all right. I was a little bit more free with my eating and my calorie intake, right? Like, all right, cool. So then I kind of got to a more thicker, natural weight. And then I realized, oh, shit, well, I need to come back down. But I'm probably walk around at 210-ish, 215.
Okay, so you're still doing a little bit of a weight cut.
I'm still doing a weight cut, yeah.
Okay, so I want to get into your bare knuckle boxing soon here, but I wanted to ask you just – so I used to amateur box too, and what I was curious about is what's more exhausting, like a full 3-round MMA fight or a 5-round bare knuckle boxing fight? Because people that have never experienced getting in the ring, it's so much more tiring than you would ever think. I'm sure you can attest to that, but is it like I remember the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight, which I can't believe I watched. It was such a gimmick, but McGregor was so gassed.
We all watched it.
I know I watched the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight too, and I hated that too. But what's more exhausting? Because I don't know. As a boxing stand, I always feel like MMA you can kind of get away with, on the ground you can maybe take a little more rest. Where like if you get exhausted, you can't even keep your hands up, which is a horrible feeling.
I personally, from my own experience of doing MMA, and obviously I did 2-glove boxing and bare knuckle, my own personal experience, I think it is much harder for the average Joe to learn how to really understand high-level boxing conditioning.
Yeah.
Staying in a high-level fist fight, whether with gloves on or not gloves on, and keep that cardio and energy. It's much more difficult in my eyes than you can teach someone how to pick and choose their rest times while they're grappling and that pushing and that pulling. I think, and I say it all the time, is grappling, cardio, and striking, stand-up cardio are two different.
Yes, I was hoping you'd say that.
Two completely different ways
Yes.
and two completely different things of cardio. Now, what makes the champions of MMA great and elite and champions and legendary is they can do it both, and they can transition to up, down, and do it all. And that, yeah. But if I had to be honest, I would say striking cardio is more difficult.
Okay. This is a really dumb question, but I have to ask it. All right. What hurts more, getting punched in the face bare knuckle, a super hard leg kick, or getting a tattoo on your Adam's apple?
That's a good one. I would say a super hard leg kick.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
The gym I used to go to was half MMA, half boxing, and I don't know what's wrong with me, but I was like, I gotta experience this. I almost threw up.
Yep.
It hurts so fucking bad.
Yeah. I feel like the bare knuckle to cheek shot is an instant boom pain and then kind of subsides.
Yep.
And tattooing over time, okay, cool. That'd be raw and that would be more painful in the long term. But that weird fucking leg kick shot that goes deep into your fucking muscle tissue and muscle fibers all the way to the bone, and it's just like a long pain. Like, yeah, that's the worst for sure.
Like if someone was in a street fight, you'd be like, okay, learn how to leg kick just super hard, and you'll end the fight immediately.
Sure. Now, if you said leg kick or a liver punch or a liver kick, now I'm like, I don't know. I think I won't. Liver punch or the kick would be the worst.
Well, that's why you go to the body so much. Yeah. It's the I just Jack, who's producing right now, Boss Man. He at the Gopher game tailgate. You got punched in the stomach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
on purpose. One of my other friends got punched in the stomach, and I was like, well, now I want to get.
Yeah, I gotta figure it out. Yeah,
it sucks. Yeah. It's brutal. So how did you get into bare knuckle? I'm so curious. Like, how did that become about?
So, after my, when I was with MMA and I had my little suspension, excuse me, and then I was trying to make my MMA comeback, and I wasn't in the best place where I was in my personal life and relationship, and I had 2 LFA fights. My first comeback LFA fight. This is as I'm getting older now, and I realized first they're like, hey, you can want to fight at 145, your comeback fight? I'm like, yeah, that's what I've always fought, is 45 and 35. So my first fight back against Lazar, that weight cut was horrendous. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was a horrible weight cut. I made it, but I just felt horrible. Yeah. And I went out there and I just lost a pretty decisive decision. I just lost the rounds. And then I had another fight at 150. I went up to 155, fought that Peterson Cap. I felt like I won that fight. Very close fight. I felt like I won the fight. It didn't go my way. We even battled that decision with the commission.
It's just classic combat sports, man.
Just one of those things where it's like, come on, man. Like, I won that fight, but it is what it is. Needless to say, I'm like, fuck. Obviously, you're deflated. You're thinking you're making the comeback. You're gonna go to Bellator, UFC, and all that. But I'm like, I'm not done yet. I still want to fight. And I was contemplating, all right, cool. Let's just keep figuring it out with MMA. Take a couple L's, and we'll keep grinding. But then I remember seeing at the time this promotion called BKB, and even before BKFC was legalized and running in the U.S., they were throwing fights in the United Kingdom. And I remember seeing them on Twitter, and I remember reaching out to them and be like, yo, I want to fucking do that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do that. Like, what do I have to do that? And they're like, oh, fuck yeah, we want you to come out here and do it. At that time, Chris Lytle was already fought for BKB. I think Julian Lane already had a BKB fight. Melvin Gillard. So, there's already a couple of MMA cats, OG MMA guys getting some fights over there. So then, they got a fight with me. They signed me up for a fight, and I went to go fight over there, and I'm like, I fucking love this. So then I just kind of dove into the bare knuckle. Like, I'm doing bare knuckle now. I'm diving into that. And that was 2018.
Okay. Wow. And then, so BKFC started pretty much right after.
Shortly after, yeah. So I fought June of 2018 in London, and then I want to say the Wyoming BKFC one was a handful of months later.
Yeah.
BKFC won.
And then did they reach out to you or?
So then what happened was I was trying to get another fight with BKB, and they didn't have the biggest budget for traveling fighters coming from the U.S., right? Because that costs a lot of money for a flight. You gotta pay me to fly. You gotta pay my corner. You gotta pay for my stay, all that shit. So that kind of got a runaround with that for a while, and then I'm like, this is dumb, and I could see BKFC was starting to pick up, and I was looking to sign with BKFC, but then Valor came out. Valor Bare Knuckle, they only did 2 shows, but their very first show, they put a lot of money into that, and that was the kind of the pit fighting thing with no cage and all that, and then they offered me some good money for my first fight, so I'm like, all right, cool, I'll sign with Valor, and then when I signed with Valor, Dave was like, well, you still want to come? I'm like, I already signed with them. So that kind of delayed me going to BKFC till after the Valor stuff. COVID hit. Yeah. And that wiped out everything. And then after COVID, then, we found a deal with BKFC and started rolling from there.
Yeah. And it's been just a great time for you at BKFC. It is an absolutely insane sport. I don't know. I'm making this up, but it's got to be the fastest growing sport right now.
It has to be.
It has to be.
Fastest growing combat sport, let alone sport. I mean, what other, not including combat sport, what other sport is growing as fast as bare knuckle?
I have no idea. It's fucking electric. Yeah. I was telling you before that one of the first cards I ever watched, all 12 or 15 fights were all literal knockouts or TKOs. Every single one. And the thing I love about BKFC is it's not like boxing where there's this whole fucking production, everything. They fucking move it along, and it's fantastic. I need to ask you, one, do you think it's ever going to be legal here?
I speak with the commissioner and kind of like the athletic commission team here. I wouldn't say frequently, but often. Like, what's going on? Oh, Mike, we're going to try for next year. And then we bring everything to the table. It's like a once-a-year thing. You bring things to the table. Yeah. They're shooting hard to get it signed, sealed, and delivered, fucking, legalized and approved for 2025. When that hearing and all that shit comes to light, I don't know. But, I think if it's not 2025, 2026 will be for sure be legal. And what helps us a lot here in the Minnesota Athletic Commission and athletic commissions across the country is the California State Athletic Commission.
Yes, and New York too.
And New York, which is Massachusetts, and that they're a big, they're a big commission out there. I don't know if New Jersey, Atlantic City, like that commission's a big commission. New Jersey, so I don't know if they had it yet, but I know Massachusetts, the Connecticut area. New York, but California, the CSAC is such a big commission to where when other commissions see that they're on board with it, then everyone starts to fall in line and kind of roll with it. So that's probably, I wouldn't doubt that in the next couple of years, every state with the athletic commission will have it legalized.
Could you imagine fighting at the Armory? I've been to the many fights there, and it's electric. That'd be so sick. That'd be
perfect.
So awesome.
It's a perfect fight venue.
100%.
Perfect fight venue.
Oh, man.
And the way BKFC lays out how they like their venues to look, the Armory is perfect.
It's a great place to see a concert, but even better place to see fights. I'm telling you, there's not a bad seat in the house. Like when you just buy just the standing room, you do kind of wedge your way in there, but you can get front and center if you get there.
Now, I know how David in BKFC works compared to with how Rich and Ned run their operations at the Armory. That's when you dive into the logistics of BKFC. Don't like to hand out, and like most promotions, they don't like to hand out a bunch of free GAs. And I know sometimes maybe the Armory team likes to get a lot of GAs out there to really fill in the Armory with standing room. Because I've never been to a BKF show that allows that much standing GA action. But we'll see. I mean, anyways, it'd be dope.
It would be so sick. What is it like having Conor McGregor as like your boss in a way? What has that been like? I think it's a good signing because he, like David said, the commissioner, he is just a viral machine. He's getting eyes on the sport, whether you like him or not.
Whether you like his wild man antics or not, at the end of the day, what he did for MMA is undeniable.
Yeah.
And it's undeniable. He's transcended the sport of mixed martial arts. He transcended the sport of combat sports. So you say the name, just like Floyd Mayweather. You don't have to be a boxing fan to say, you can say it to the regular Joe Schmo mom at fucking Quick Trip talking about Floyd Mayweather. Oh yeah, I've heard of Floyd Mayweather. Same thing with Conor McGregor. Oh yeah, the Irish fighter guy. So you don't have to be a fan of the sport to know his name. He transcended the sport. And now he's gonna be pumping BKFC hard. Whether he does wild man shit or not, like, you can't deny the impact that he's had on combat sports. You can't.
Have you met him?
I've not met him in person. Yeah. I've not. He was there. I was there for the Philly show, the Knucklemania 5.
Yep, I saw that.
And I was not. He was there, and I was there with my wife. And
Oh yeah, congrats on getting married, by the way.
thank you. Yeah, we didn't cross paths.
Okay.
But yeah, from what I hear, he's a cool dude.
Did you guys see he spit in some dude's face?
I did see that.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that's going viral now. Yeah, someone was chanting Khabib or something like that.
Okay, so I want to ask your mindset going into a fight. I mean, obviously you've done this a lot. Like I'm sure your first fight from now, it's been a lot different. But when you come out, you're fucking laser focused. Like I can tell. And we're gonna get into the walkout song in a little bit here.
Yeah.
But what's that like? Do you think about anything, or are you just clear headed? Or I would love to learn more about that.
You know what? A career of a fighter, from the beginning to your very first fight to like when you actually get some, get some miles and experience under your belt. You learn how to like harness that energy, that nerves, that excitement. All of that is all like swirling all over the place, and you got to do your best to ball it up. Maybe like, I mean, because even when people don't realize. And I get it. You're not going to realize that. You're watching the fight that's happening before you. Is that last fight, Christine Faria was fighting Christine Vicenz, or any one of my main event fights. The fight before me that's going on, I'm literally, I'm behind the curtains and the camera.
Yeah.
I'm on deck, ready. Like, you're literally sitting there pacing.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you're like looking around the fucking curtain. You see the fight's going on. If you hear the crowd go nuts, maybe my brother's like, all right, he's knocked out, it's go time. And you get like, you're like, oh, time. But you're in the back, you're pacing.
Yeah.
You're on deck. It's not like I'm in the fucking back in the locker room and, all right, Mike, you're ready. Like, you're literally ready to go.
Yeah. Like,
you got to do everything you can
right.
to fucking hone it in.
Yeah.
Because you're just, and over time, I've learned to dial it in, I do the self-talk shit.
Yeah.
I'm the best. I can't be beat. I'm the best.
Yeah, I feel like you have to. Do you sleep the night before?
Earlier in my career, I had a hard time sleeping. Now, I can be a little bit more comfortable. If I don't sleep, then I'll nap a little bit, like later fight day. Get a little bit of hours, but I can sleep now the day before a fight.
So when fight day, what's like your routine? I'm assuming you got a routine on fight day.
Fight day, I just like to. Normally I like to sleep until 9 or 10. I get up. I like to have, the brunch, like breakfast brunch time.
Like French toast.
Yeah, like I like to eat around like noonish, 1 o'clock. I just fucking nothing crazy, nothing big. I like just my normal crush omelet, toast, whatever, coffee, just relax. And then I'll go back to the fighter hotel, and then I'll just relax. Or if I do the Airbnb with the wife and some family, we'll go back to the Airbnb. Like the last fight, we went back to our Airbnb, and then we just fucking chilled for a couple of hours until it's time to head to the venue.
Do you get the kids come and watch?
No.
Okay.
No. They, My sons have never been to a live one. My daughter has been to a live one. This last one, none of my kids are for that one.
Okay. So what motivates you to fight? Keep fighting.
That's a good question. Yeah, I would say.
Because you've done it all.
Yeah, I would say it's just kind of you get the muscle memory, right? That's you go years and years of. That's kind of who you are, and that's your kind of life cycle. Train, fight, relax, get ready to do it again, and you just kind of like get. Of course, I do other I do other things outside of just fighting, but you get caught in being a prize fighter, and saying goodbye to that one day is going to be tough. Yeah, it's I think it's one of those things where one. Yes, I just feel like I just ingrained who I am. Two, of course, I like the extra. I like the extra financial income that it brings to me and my family. That's not a driving force, but it's a great extra thing. I'm not like, all right, let me fight because I have to.
I feel like that's the wrong reason.
No, it's the wrong reason. It's a good additional income. I don't fight because I have to. I do it because I don't know what I'm gonna. I don't know what it'd be like to not be a fighter anymore.
Yeah. Is that a scary thought for you?
Yeah, it is a scary thought. There's a lot of similarities to being a prize fighter that it was when I was in the Marine Corps, and when I got ready for deployments. Like it's that muscle memory of, what you call it a pre-deployment workout. Your pre-deployment training. So you're training, you're getting all your new Marines, you're training, you're going out in the field, and blah blah blah. You're getting ready to go to Iraq. You do all these training exercises for several months, and then. You have your pre-deployment leave. Boom, you go see your family. Then you take off. So your pre-deployment training, that's like your training camp.
Yeah.
Right? Then you take off for your deployment. That's the fight. You go to the fight. And then your post-deployment leave, when you rest, that's after the fight. After the fight, now you're resting just like your post-deployment leave after a combat deployment. And then you do that cycle again. So there are so many similarities. The camaraderie and the friendships that you have in the gym is very similar to the camaraderie and the friendships that you have in the Marine Corps, in the infantry. So like, there's so many little things of what fighting brought me to Marine Corps infantry, and like, they're so intertwined. So saying goodbye to that's a tough thing.
You can take up like fishing now then?
I try to golf, but I'm fucking horrible at it. I try to golf, but I'm horrible at it. Yeah.
Mike, we should go golfing.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
It's so fucking hard.
Yeah, it's so hard.
I've been playing forever, and I felt like I finally turned a corner, and then I just came right back down to earth. It's so tough.
The awesome, addicting thing about golf is you can hit fucking so many shitty shots over and over and over, and shitty shots over and over and over again. And you make one sexy shot, and you're like, oh, yeah, I like this again.
Yeah, right?
Let's keep going.
You say you got to become a country club member. That's what you need to do.
For real. Yeah, country club money, too.
Yeah. Okay, do you have a favorite knockout? This recent one, winning the title against Jared Warren, was fucking sick. Quick night in the office. You gotta love that. That was fantastic. That was, what was it? It had to have been 40 seconds.
I think it was 44 seconds to when like the fight was waved off over. I think the first knockdown probably was at the 20-second mark, 22-second mark, something like that. Yeah. My favorite knockout, I've had a lot.
Yeah, I know. That's why you need to pick one though. You got plenty.
And Jared Warren, this last one was really sick, and it was really nice. But I still think my favorite knockout of all time would be me versus Ed West.
Okay.
When I kind of like.
So
laid him out cold.
So when was that? Just so people can look it up.
That was September 2014. I want to say September. Or maybe sometimes maybe it was the summertime. I know it was 2014. But anyways, it was in Arizona. It was in Phoenix, and against Ed West. And there's been highlight some videos of it, and it was just one of those. It was one of those clean, perfect shots to where, like Jimmy Smith said in a post video build up for one of my future fights, he's like, it was like having a puppet on strings, and you cut the wires, and he just kind of crumples.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the knockout was. He would just kind of crumples, and that was one of those shots where you could feel it in your hand. The second it connected, you knew he was done.
Is it like if you've ever hit a super pure golf shot, it feels like you don't even hit it? Is it like one of those things?
Very similar, yeah. That was like the Ed West shot. Yes, there was purity to the shot, but that was one I could feel the energy go through his whole body, and I knew he was crumpled. The such a clean swing shot was the first knockdown against Jared Warren.
Yeah.
Like an awesome golf swing, an awesome whatever, an awesome baseball hit, to where like it didn't even feel like I even hit anything.
Yeah, those check hooks are killer, Mike.
Yeah, the check hook. Yeah, it just came out so clean. It didn't feel like it connected.
Okay, so I want you to power rank these 5 aspects of fighting here. So first one's conditioning, footwork, timing, and then the classic speed and power.
Most important to least important?
Yes, in your perspective.
I think fatigue makes cowards of us all. So obviously conditioning is, I think conditioning in MMA, boxing, anything is number one.
Love that.
I think speed and power can get you out of a lot of sticky situations. Whether you're in trouble or not in trouble, I think speed and power dictates the pace. The power doesn't always have to mean knocking someone out. Nailing someone with a clean shot that doesn't knock them out lets them know, like, I don't want to get hit by that again. Now you dictate that whole pace, you dictate the whole rhythm, and so I think speed and power. What were the other ones?
Footwork and timing.
For me personally, timing is my punches are timing, speed, accuracy, timing. That's tough. Footwork. I'm not a big footwork guy because I kind of pressure.
Yeah.
So footwork would be last for me, for my style of fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, you just come forward.
Yeah, I like to just pressure and come forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be my breakdown.
I love it. I love it. So with bare knuckle boxing, it's just you get cut up. What in your career? Has there been any just really bad injuries that you've experienced? And like, how do you overcome that? Like,
well, I have had my nose broken a couple times. I still have a little break right there. That wasn't like so bad or I need surgery. That just is what it is. I've had breaks in MMA, let alone bare knuckle. I had a mallet finger just this last fight from one of the shots.
What's a mallet finger?
So essentially there's a tendon, ligament in each one of your knuckles that kind of keeps your fingers from like. So what happened was it ripped. So imagine this, I had a mallet finger happen there too. Now it's kind of healed. But
yeah, I
this
see.
Whole thing rips. This part of the digit is going.
Oh, so it just scrunches up, so like
it just
the
like
last.
curls up.
Okay, I see that.
At that digit end. And it happened here, this last fight. That's why I have this little kind of splint to kind of build it up to be straight again, as straight as possible. That one's frustrating because, I can't get in the gym as quickly as I'd like to start hitting again. I have, sorry, I didn't mean to hit that. I've
no good.
sprained my knuckles before in training to where I thought it was a break. I think anything that really has to do with hands, fucking twisted an ankle, but actually in a live fight, yeah, just some hand issues.
Yeah, it looks like you're not playing guitar.
No.
All right, so obviously you're from Minnesota. I want to hear your Mount Rushmore of Minnesota, just combat. Like who combat sports Mount Rushmore for Minnesota? Who's on there? Obviously, you got to put yourself I'm not accepting anything besides. Like, you got to be on there.
I actually posted this. I don't know. Several
Oh, you
weeks ago.
did?
I
Okay,
did.
shit, I missed it.
I did. I even with the Mount Rushmore picture on there. So let me-
Yeah, look that up because I'm curious. Because it's there. I mean, there's a few for me. I know mine, but I'm curious to hear yours.
I'll hand it to you, and then you can tell the crowd.
Yeah, all right. And then we're gonna get into your walkout song debate because that's bullshit.
All for that. Disappointing that.
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, while you're looking that up, we'll get into it right now. So, your walkout song is "Back in Black" by AC/DC. Phenomenal song.
Mm-hmm.
That's been your walkout song. Has it been always your walkout song?
That's been my walkout song for the majority of my career. That's been like on TV, right? Like Bellator, and,
Yeah.
I mean, like a higher level. Like I came out to AC/DC Thunderstruck once, but then I'm like, that's Arturo Getty's song. I can't come out to Arturo Getty's song. I've came out to some Eminem songs in the past in Bellator, but I hit a certain point in Bellator where I'm like, I came back from a loss, and there was something about. I love all the AC/DC songs. They're
They
great,
fucking rip.
right? They're fucking rip.
Yeah.
And there's something about AC/DC Back in Black, like you just, 9 Lives, Cat Eyes, like
Yeah.
I'm fucking back again. Like you can't fucking take me out.
Yeah.
Like, and I just love the AC/DC Back in Black lyrics. I love the song. I love the rips on it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's gonna be the build up when like you hear the smacks and then to the drop. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And I've been rocking that for, a good while.
And I don't even know who the fighter, but they took it. So what the fuck? What do you do now?
I know I'm coming out to it again. I
Yeah,
told my
okay.
manager-
I was gonna say, are you gonna do a new one? Like, I feel like that's weird.
I told him, my manager, I'm like, how fucking dare you let BKFC let some other dude come out to that song? And he just kind of laughed. He's like, I don't know. I'm
Especially when there's 3 billion other songs.
like, right. And you know what? Maybe the guy liked the song, whatever. But yeah, that's my song. When I heard it on that show this past Saturday, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm literally watching it. We're watching it at home, and my stepson goes, little Aaron goes, AC/DC Back in Black hits with his intro, and then Aaron goes, hey, that's your song, Michael. I'm like, it sure is. Sure is.
As you're clenching your fists in the background.
Real.
You gotta fight that guy.
Yeah.
It has to happen. He's a heavyweight. He's a big boy, but like he ended up losing. Really.
That's even worse.
So then I'm like, God. Then he loses in like a minute. I'm like, you're killing me, bro.
What's on the?
On it.
Okay, perfect. Mount Rushmore of Minnesota fighters.
Now, my last fighter, I got nothing but love for Dave. I'll have you say it out loud.
Okay.
Imagine you know him.
Oh, okay. So, pretty crazy of you putting yourself on the list.
Nope, I'm on it.
So it's Mike, Sean Shirk, Caleb Truax, and is this Joey Abel?
No, that's Dave Monet.
I don't know who Dave Monet is.
Oh, he's an OG.
Okay, I fucked up.
That's the first UFC middleweight champ.
Okay, I fucked up. We have a very similar list, except I have Matt Vanda. That was my first ever boxing match. Was at it was at one of the casinos. I can't fucking remember. I went as a hockey team, and I saw Matt Vanda.
Read what it says there on my caption.
Okay, I might be a little biased for myself. Okay, I missed that. But this is my Minnesota Combat Sports Mount Rushmore. Who's yours? So it's Mike Richman, Sean Shirk, Caleb Truax, Matt Vanda, Dave Monet. Getting rid of me, I would have Matt Vanda. Okay, I love it.
Yes.
One of my really good friends, his dad was a mailman, and he delivered his mail to Matt Vanda, and Matt Vanda would meet him out and take his mail. He was awesome, very intimidating looking guy, sort of like yourself. Yeah. Awesome guy, super nice. I heard.
Cool dude.
Yeah, I remember watching him, and I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. When I first started really watching boxing in high school. We went, and I would just loved it ever since.
He had every freaking person from St. Paul. I don't know how many
Yeah.
shows at the Armory.
Oh, yeah.
That he would sell out. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, so cool. Love that we have a similar list. I gotta look up Dave Monet. I can't believe I don't even know who that is.
Dave Monet would be, he's an OG Minnesota, maybe even more OG than Sean Shirk. He would, like I said, he was the first UFC middleweight champ.
No shit. God damn. So speaking of champs, what's next for you, champ? I saw you calling out Mike Perry.
Yes.
That shit's not happening, is it?
I don't think it will, no.
He's a bitch.
I think he wants, understandably so, he wants a big former UFC fighter name that he can really sell with him. And, you know, I'm not the former UFC McGee, right?
And you're a matchup nightmare for him.
Yeah, I am. My style is I don't think that's why you don't want to fight Mundell either. We're both stylistically really bad for him. So I really think he wants the Robbie, if the UFC will agree with the whole retirement contract thing. And now they're saying there's rumors that he would drop maybe one more weight class, and then Stevens would have to maybe go up and meet him, or maybe they'll meet somewhere in the middle, or Stevens will even go to 75 and meet him there, which that's fucking super exciting. Yeah, Jeremy Stevens is
he's awesome,
exciting fighter, and I said and several, and like I'm friends with Eddie Alvarez. Like, we go way back from Bellator days. And Eddie's a fucking really great fighter. But I said, if there's one person that can transition really well from MMA to bare knuckle, is Jeremy Stevens. Yeah. He fucking slings.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's been in the fight game forever.
Yeah.
Just crazy. So, I mean, obviously you're going to take some time, let that hand heal up. But I don't know. Like, do you have an idea of when you're going to be fighting
I would
next?
like to fight in May or June at the latest.
Okay.
But I would like to fight May. I mean, if April, if possible, like early May, late April, mid to late May. Like, that's why I want to use May as kind of like sometime in May. If it leads to June, and if it's late April, okay. I don't want to be one of those champions that is, because sometimes the champions get shelved for a while, because they're throwing other shows, they're trying to build up other things, other contenders, and I want to stay active, and especially I want to stay active because, I'm 39. I want to stay active and fight.
It's funny on the BKFC website it says you're 36. You should,
fucking just keep that. I'm 36, baby.
Metabolic age.
I'm going backwards.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. All right, so I got a few more questions.
Yeah.
I want you to rate my shadow boxing here. All right.
Let's see it.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Pretty solid.
Okay. Mike Marine.
There it is.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
All right. You hear that? You hear that, boss man?
That's pretty
it's
good.
Pretty good. My next thing, I think I'm really gonna regret this. Would you be willing to make a video of us sparring?
Of us sparring?
Not right now. Yeah. But in the future.
Sure.
Oh my God, what'd I just do?
Super down.
Especially after seeing that.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Check hook's coming.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get health and dental insurance immediately.
Oh yeah. I love it. Are you still training now?
I do my boxing workouts. I'm not at a gym, so I started out Lorenzi's gym in Duluth when I was actually fighting.
Okay.
It's not a gym anymore. He moved somewhere. I actually ran into him at it's like the mechanical conference. They have like boxing matches every year for like that. So I went to those. Then I went to Like's gym for a while. That was a sweet gym. It's so shitty, but it's the best.
You talking about the old?
The old one.
The old one. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Coon
one that
Rapids,
moved.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or no, Coon Rapids.
Yeah, it literally would leak.
Yeah, I know exactly the location you're talking about. That was an old school gym.
And then I used to volunteer and train at Northside.
Okay.
With Phil and Mo,
which
is really cool. I kind of upset I stopped doing that because I lived in Robbinsdale and I would just go right there. I miss boxing all the time.
Yeah.
But my last fight, I made a huge mistake and I didn't train all summer. And my trainer, and I was going to college in Duluth, and my trainer's like, "Hey, I need someone right now. Like, could you do it?" I'm like, "All right." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'll do it."
I got it.
Yeah. I tried to knock the guy out in the first round. And then I was so gassed. I couldn't do anything. I was much better than him, and it just still. So that was in 2011. So many years ago. I haven't sparred proper in years.
Yeah.
I've sparred my buddies that have like wanted to.
Yeah.
It didn't go well for them because when you don't have any training, it's like.
No. Yeah. It's never a good.
Oh my God, yeah, I would. It would be. I've always wanted to say if I could get in the ring with a world champion, I don't care what happens. That would be so sick, selfishly for me. But
yeah.
I got the full headgear because I broke my nose too. I just walked right into a straight punch.
Yeah.
Blood everywhere. It's actually one of the coolest pictures I have on my phone. But
From an actual
Yeah.
training session or organized bout or what?
yeah. So it was at Grandma's Sports Garden. Fight of the night, by the way. Fight of the night. I'll show you. This is I absolutely love boxing.
Savage? Is that Savage or no? I'm thinking of a
No,
different
that's up in Duluth.
place. Up in Duluth.
Yeah, it's actually not really a venue anymore, but it used to be the best bar in freaking college. I would argue it was so sick.
The entertainment there.
I was. We got fight of the night. It was crazy. So I was on a fight poster once. You're not even gonna. So this is one of the. This is one of the pics. Had a mohawk. Looks so young. Look at that.
A mohawk.
I'm pissed my eyes were closed during that picture because I still have that poster. And I'm like, holy shit, this is so cool. But here's the picture of me. You will notice a nice slip here, but I wish I would have slipped the first one. It's just so.
Second one.
Yeah, and that's my one and only bloody nose is when I broke my nose. I haven't had a bloody nose since. That will absolutely happen when we spar. Oh my God.
He got you good.
Oh, so good. He got me so. I got him good a few times, but.
Yeah, that's a good picture though with the slip.
Yeah, I know, right?
And you look like you're trying to throw a little counter, a little check hook.
Yep.
Slipping.
Probably missed but yeah, I've dislocated my shoulders like 100 times too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done that, but once, it just always happens again.
I definitely have
Oh, it
had
sucks.
shoulder issues for sure.
Oh, see, that's just such a bummer.
Right in like the rotator cuff area when it's just such a pain. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like now I don't do anything heavy with my shoulders when I work out. I'm all those like 5-pound weights. I'm not fucking them up because one of my shoulders it will like pop out when I sleep.
Yeah.
It's like this fucking sucks. I'm not getting surgery because
Yeah.
it's just gonna.
Right.
It's just there's no fucking point. But well, champ, I don't have anything else here. I cannot thank you enough. I
appreciate you guys having me. That's
This
fun
was
as hell, yeah.
so sick. Like I said, I've been following you forever, and you got me into BKFC, which
That's dope.
I cannot thank you enough. You guys need to check them out.
For sure.
It is seriously so cool. I highly recommend, and it's $50 a year for a whole year subscription.
Yeah, it's a killer deal.
And I split it with one of my buddies, so it's $25 for me because I got him into it. And he's like, "Dude, I'm getting one." I'm like, "Well, we can just split."
Yeah.
And
Fucking badass.
it's so badass, and I can't wait to watch your next fight. Hopefully it's somehow here, but it won't be. But God, that'd be insane.
That'd be cool. I would like to ideally think that one of my last fights would be when bare knuckle is legalized here in Minnesota, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out.
Well, we'll watch you in later this year, and go
for
get him,
sure.
champ. I can't wait.
Let's go.
Appreciate your time. All right, well, that'll do it for the episode. Thanks for listening.